Okay, it's so great to be here. First of all, it feels like a family gathering. So many familiar faces. We are proudly part of Fabric Ventures family, so it's great to reunite with all of you here. Thank you for inviting. Secondly, there's so many of our partners here, which is also something that I'm very excited about. Good to reconnect and touch base on what's going on your markets and what's next and exciting in the gaming world. At Ramp, we're always super excited about, where's my clicker? Oh, here it is. We're always super excited about gaming because we believe that gaming is probably going to be the biggest gateway drug to Web3. And we realized that 2 years ago when we saw the incredible spike of activity with Axie, which is one of the things that I'm going to talk you through. And my talk is quite difficult because I'm bridging between the future of gaming that is human and a panel about infrastructure. So there's going to be a little bit on both. And I very often do talks about what Web3 is good for layman people, but I thought it would be fun for me as a layman in the gaming on the gaming scene to share some thoughts about what Web3 is good for in the gaming space. So flip the script, pretty much, compared to what I tend to do when I speak about Web3. So you probably know this funny anecdote. This is something that Vitalik Buterin used to have on his About Me page. Then when asked about it, Vitalik said that obviously it was a joke, but it read, "I happily played World of Warcraft during 2007 to 2010, but one day Blizzard removed the damage component from my beloved Warlock's Siphon Life spell. I cried myself to sleep, and on that day I realized what horrors centralized services can bring. I soon decided to quit." And obviously, there is nothing bad about rebalancing your game, and hopefully your Web3 games are going to have this ability to rebalance your game if that will be needed. But this is sort of like a funny passage that shows you how system design has consequences, pretty much similar to our friend from Lattice presented about 2 talks before. And you know, if we are now looking and craving new ways to create these systems to build games on top of, where are we at, right? And I got this piece of data from DappRadar. So in Q3, we had around 800,000 daily unique active wallets. That was an increase of 12%. In October, last month, it was apparently 1 million daily active wallets, which is great, so increasing. Numbers go up. We also saw some new influx of investment money, which is great. In Q3, we saw 600 million invested in Web3 gaming. Sounds good, but really when you benchmark to the traditional established AAA or broader gaming markets, this is nothing. Right? So just for comparison, there's probably 3 billion gamers around the world compared to 1 million monthly active wallets, daily active wallets last month. And the investment in AAA games is estimated to be 40 billion yearly. And the revenue for gaming companies is estimated to be around 200 to 300 billion globally. So we are super, super, super early. Even though these numbers are encouraging and we see a lot of upward movement in this space, we are so early. And so being this early, I think we would benefit from accelerated learning so that we can avoid mistakes that other people made in the past. And we should learn from each other. And at Ramp, we're blessed to have front row seats looking into success stories of Axie Infinity, GameStop, and SoRare. What Ramp does is crypto on-ramping. So what we do is we let your users buy crypto with whatever payment method they prefer inside your game, so you do not need to send your user to Coinbase, Binance, or any other app. And these games were built in the very beginning without this feature. So I think this is like the first lesson we can learn. They found out very quickly that casual users, casual gamers, were not happy to be onboarded into these games through the onboarding process that we all know. So send users somewhere to Coinbase or Binance, hope that they're gonna come back, let them open up a wallet, safe passphrase and seed phrase for their holdings. And I think that there's also more lessons that we learned as laymen in the Web3 gaming space from having this front row seat helping these platforms and these games to succeed. So many developers are afraid, scared of the economics, in-game economics. It is incredibly hard to balance in-game economics, and it gets even harder to balance it if there is any element of fiat economy injected. So one of the things that many developers are afraid of are unauthorized sales of in-game items for money, because it makes it very hard to balance the game. But fact of the matter is that the moment you build a game that your gamers are going to start caring enough, the same gamers are going to value the items that they own in that game. And if they value it enough, the byproduct of it is going to be always trade outside of your gaming platform. So it's very hard to fight it. You can write terms of service that would prohibit selling skins or rifles, guns, gold in your game. But I think the other way to go about it is to embrace it. And our good friends from Gods Unchained realized that, and they also realized that while Magic the Gathering, so the card game that probably inspired Gods Unchained, is digital, the component of trading cards was absent from the social mechanics around the application. And they decided to embrace it, so put it on the blockchain to make sure that this critical component of the social experience around the gaming experience would be front and center of their product. And I think this is a very valuable lesson, because instead of fighting it, you can actually embrace it, which I think in many cases is the best way to go about something that is just inherently natural. So if you build something that people are going to care about enough, there is going to be economic activity around this. If you want to tame this economic activity, you lose, but you can embrace it. There were also attempts that were not incredibly successful. So our good friends at Ubisoft built a platform selling NFTs. It was called Quartz, and it was not welcomed warmly by the community of Ubisoft. And I think the lesson here is that maybe, just maybe, introducing something that feels too much like something that you already have, so something that feels like another DLC, another microtransaction, extortion attempt. This is how the community called this platform. It is not good enough. So I think the lesson from this is sometimes to do something successfully, you need to go all in. And I know that Ubisoft is working right now on much deeper integrations. So not just selling skins, but also potentially embedding the elements of NFT-powered components deeper into the game mechanics, so that it would feel more native, more compelling, and less exploitative, or less similar to what people learned to try to avoid and sometimes hate. Second lesson we learned from our work with gaming partners is that there's real value in your ability to turn your fans into owners. We started working with Sorare just before they boomed in popularity. And every time I think about Sorare, I think about the time when I go abroad, especially to a country that is like very distant from my home country, which is Poland. And pretty much the only thing that people in Mexico, Morocco, and Japan know about Poland is Lewandowski. So every time I have a small talk in a cab, there is this Lewandowski chat. And it just feels so powerful to be able to own a piece of something that is basically part of your national identity right now. So to me, Sorare feels very special, even though I'm not at all a soccer fan. But the lesson to learn here is that there are people who are almost religiously following soccer, and they feel empowered by the ability to own a piece of the stories that surround their social daily life and their love for their soccer teams. There is also something to be said about meme communities. So GameStop, as all of you know, built this incredible community that attracted also a lot of people who tend to be in crypto. And they capitalized on it by building an NFT trading platform that we support at Ramp, which turned out to be a very interesting experiment. So we can see now how affinity for a meme, for a piece of, for a story that sort of resonates with people, you can actually build a community that has its own economy, and it's super compelling for people. And we also learned that even though GameStop is now sort of handing over this project to third-party platform that is going to continue building this, the community just did not agree to let this project die. So now it is going to be developed by a separate team, and there is probably more incredibly exciting news to be shared about the future of GameStop NFT marketplace. But the lesson here is that the meme behind GameStop was so powerful that the community just did not agree to let the project die after the initial hype around NFTs and GameStop died off. And then the final lesson that was really profound is that Web3 is like inherently global. And obviously, if you launch games, you're also in a global business, right? You can sell in Vietnam, you can sell in Canada, you can sell in Mexico, you can sell in Bulgaria. However, there is something in Web3 that goes even further than that. And we learned that during the incredible journey together with Axie Infinity creators. And so, as many of you know, Axie was particularly well received by the community in the Philippines. And the most mind-blowing fact I learned about their parabolic growth is that their CEO said that he did not expect it. So the popularity of Axie in Philippines came as a surprise, which is mind-blowing if you think about it. And so by creating an economic incentive and letting people build strong network effects around your game, you can discover pockets of demand for that game and this game economic in places that you would never imagine you would be able to reach, not to mention saturate. And I found this profoundly inspiring. The last bit of this presentation is about how we move forward, because we learned so much from this first generation of Web3-powered games, that launched in 2021. And there's so much to come. And my thesis is that we are now much more advanced and we can do much more. So we can get from dozens of millions of users, I think, to hundreds of millions of users in the very near future. And the reason why is that we got three things really well. So first of all, as somebody mentioned on a previous panel, today we have much better wallet infrastructure. Wallets are super important, and there's probably going to be more discussion about that by the panel that is going to follow just after my talk. But today we have account abstraction. We can create wallets in the background. We can use NPC if we prefer that. So this entire component of onboarding basically feels like Web 2.0 product right now, which is incredibly powerful. What is also great is that we got the stablecoin element well. So many of us, when we think about stablecoins, we think more about DeFi, but we found out that people actually like to be able to hold value on-chain, sometimes in the app connected to their favorite game, in something that they can immediately use in-game, but at the same time that holds value. So maybe it is not native currency of the chain or native currency of the game that fluctuates in value, but is a stablecoin that you can immediately deploy when interacting with the game. And then what is much better now is on-ramping. So you can onboard people to your game much, much easier right now. So straight to your wallet. It can go into a stablecoin if your gamers prefer that and if your in-game economy is built around. And then it is so much easier to pay money in and out. There's also layer 2s. So here there are a couple of layer 1, prominent layer 1 examples, but also there is so much scalable solutions right now. We at Ramp work with all of these and more, so you can onboard your users straight to these layer 2s with no hassle. On-ramping really got global, right? So you can do that in one click across 150 countries, and there is going to be even more very soon. And what is very important, what we missed a year or two ago, is that right now you can also off-ramp. So you can sell your in-game asset or the stablecoin you own and pay it out through Visa or MasterCard network in seconds, which feels like magic. You click sell and then you get a push notification from your bank saying, hey, your 200 quid just arrived into your bank account. And what it really creates is this sense of security of users, because they feel that they can invest, and it's very easy, but they can also withdraw. And many game developers realize that by giving the ability to very fast withdraw the funds, users are much more assured about their money, and they're ready to invest more. Which also creates a lot more assurance for the users and increases the likelihood that they're going to get hooked and spend more money on the platform. And then these are like nice things that people tell about us, not that relevant. But I just wanted to invite you to build with us for 3 reasons. First of all, we learned all these lessons and more. So if you are interested, we can tell you more stories about how we went through this incredible growth journey with the very first iteration of Web3 partners and Web3 game builders. Secondly, we onboarded their entire user base. So now their user base is able to interact with all games that would implement Ramp with no KYC, without adding new cards. It's basically plug and play for you. So we bring not just the infrastructure to be able to onboard and offboard your users, but we also bring all of the users who were early adopters of the very first wave of Web3. And thirdly, it's just so much easier to do it with us because we take away most of the compliance pains that you would face by building it yourself. So I'm going to be around, and if you are interested in adding the on-ramping functionality with Ramp into your products, let me know. Thanks.